Hey, Spiritual Girls in a Material World with Kelly Sullivan Walden and Nancy T starts now.
Welcome to Spiritual Girls in a Material World, where we celebrate the bling, the ka-ching, and the mystical, magical magnificence in everything. And Nancy does an interpretive dance for me speaking, and she's wearing the cutest t-shirt today that says, fashion is not a luxury. Wow, your boobs look massive when you do that. Like,
that'll be
D plus coming at you. Okay, that is super cute.
That's like the only time in my life where that happened.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. We should all get that t-shirt. Okay, fashion.
Everybody light up.
Light it up. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the goddesses.
I'm your Venus. I'm your desire. Okay, why am I voguing? Why am I begging?
Because you can't help yourself.
I think we're just going, because Nancy and I have a little code when we talk. We'll say, oh, that's so Athena, or you're getting way too Aphrodite, or oh, I need a little Hestia. So we might as well just explain kind of the vocabulary. So
yeah.
This conversation is based on the 7 primary Greek goddesses, and we're just going to mention a little bit of what each one of them are, and then how we use them and how you might use them, and also look at them like, where are you out of balance, and where could you use a little bit more of something from one of the goddesses, because in an ideal world we would have all 7 goddesses happening and alive and thriving in our lives. And not all in equal portions, for sure, but at least represented. So they can represent. Represent! All right, so which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Artemis. Ooh.
Okay.
Because A is for Artemis.
A is for Artemis. There's a couple of A's. All right, so I'll say a few things and then I'll pass it. We'll just do a little. So Artemis... And I'm not going to go way deep into the history. We're going to talk about more about how it applies to modern day. But Artemis is always depicted with the bow and arrow. She is the goddess of the hunt. She's super focused. She lives in nature. She's the protector of all things natural. So if you're an environmentalist, if you're someone who cares about Mother Earth, Pachamama, then you probably have a lot of Artemis going on with you. Also, if you exercise a lot and you really get into the vibe of working out, sweating, having a muscular body, being fit, that's also Artemis. So she's super important. We need her. And in some ways, we could say in this day and age, we need Artemis more than ever. There's a shadow side to Artemis, but let's see what you want to say about Artemis.
The only thing I think I would add to that is that she's a warrior. And to me, Artemis, she's willing to get in the woods and the sticks and dig in and get stuff done. But when you feel you need to go to that deepest part of yourself to get through and muster up that's your Artemis working.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Yes. So in some way, the shadow of Artemis, like if you have too much Artemis, then you might not be great at intimacy, because Artemis is kind of like, just get over it. I don't want to feel any of that sissy stuff. I'm not going to cry and put on makeup. And she is definitely like not a glam girl.
No, she's wearing hiking boots everywhere.
Or she's barefoot and she's not had a pedicure in a long time, if ever.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Right.
That hurt.
That hurt.
No.
That I know the visual. Sorry, we'll change that. So she's tough, and she can have a hard time exposing her vulnerability. So if you're totally rocking the Artemis, then you might need to compensate by adding some of the more feminine goddesses into your vibe, like Aphrodite. While we're on the A's, should we go?
We can go Aphrodite.
Let's go Aphrodite. It's hard to go once we're on Aphrodite. It's hard to do any of the other goddesses. Sometimes we should save Aphrodite for last.
Okay, we'll save her.
We'll save Aphrodite for last. Okay. So there's another one that starts with an A.
There's Athena.
You want
to talk about Athena?
I'll talk about Athena. So Athena is who Athens was named after. She she's also a worker bee, but different. She's similar to Artemis in that she's strong, she's tough. They both have a lot of masculine energy, what we could say, but Athena is more in this world, successful, driven. I would say almost any woman who is a lawyer or any woman who's ever had her picture on the cover of Success magazine has a lot of Athena. She's goal-oriented. She gets stuff done. She's reliable, and she's usually got something to show for it. Now, she can advocate for other people, but usually that's the Artemis. Athena, I find, is more about like success for success's sake. She can stand for something. The higher part of her can stand for a mission, but she can, and I do this because like I'm like the Statue of Liberty. She takes a stand. The difference between Artemis, though, is Artemis is more about standing for other people, the earth, the little ones, the younger ones, the ones who've been underprivileged. And that's where she gets tough and macho. What do you want to say?
What would you say about Oprah? Because I think of her as Athena in a way, but
I think she's a very enlightened Athena. I think that there's the part of her that is, she's definitely got a lot of philanthropy for sure. So she has a little bit of the Artemis vibe in her, and she does a lot of the exercising and all of that stuff, but she feels very much like an enlightened Athena. If you ask me. Yeah. I think kind of the best of Athena. I think when you get so successful, you can't just keep it all for yourself. Bill and Melinda Gates, we could say she's Athena on that's reached an enlightened state. But there's definitely like the Jane Goodalls of the world, and the Julia Butterfly Hill, the ones, who lived in the tree to protect the people. They're much more like connected to the earth and about like protecting the people. The grandmothers that stood in front of the tanks that held hands, that wouldn't let people them demolish their village. Like that's I get the chills. Ooh, totally. Artemis is so important. We could go on and on about her, but so you get the difference between Artemis and Athena.
So Artemis has the hiking boots, and Athena might have a smart suit on.
Yes.
I like to talk about their outfits.
So true. She would have sensible, but there'd probably be some kind of a heel. It would be an intimidating.
It would be a really designer look.
A power suit.
But it's a power suit. She's rocking that. She's
total power suit. Exactly. Okay, so who do you want to go to next?
So I would say let's jump into somebody who's not at work at all, Hestia.
Oh yeah, Hestia. Yeah. Hestia is actually the one that gets most overlooked. Yeah. Because she has no drama, this goddess. All the other goddesses are totally in drama land. But Hestia is like chill in the center of it all, because she really doesn't, she stays at home. Her
home and hearth.
Her home and hearth, right? She is the goddess of home and hearth. She makes a house a home. Her energy makes a sanctuary. So she's not even depicted as having a body. She's depicted as a fire that's contained, like a candle or a hearth, like with the warmth of a candle. So we kind of don't really know what she looks like too much. The Venus, we know so much about the other goddesses, but we don't know as much about her. But really, to me, when I'm connected to my inner Hestia, I feel enough. My not enough button is like nowhere to be found. I feel completely peaceful, rocking. There's no FOMO, because there's like, there's stillness. My house looks beautiful. I've got flowers. There's some like lovely candles that have been lit, and not necessarily for any occasion. It's like the home should be a beautiful space. So that's what I know about Hestia. Maybe the shadow is that she doesn't go out much.
The shadow is when she gets to be a bit of a hermit, right? Yeah. She goes hermitized. And so if I get in touch with her, I tend to go hermit. Right? Like, and I'm not leaving. But that's if I get, otherwise, I don't know. I don't have a lot of Hestia in me. And I would imagine
you like to nap.
Her outfit looks like the couch. She blends right in.
She is totally rocking the sweatsuit, probably a velour sweatsuit, something that's pretty, but or just
not about her appearance. It's about the house's appearance. It's not about all that. She's not. She's something else.
Right. She doesn't have much of an ego. It's kind of like she does. She's the one who meditates. She's the one that's still. She's the one that makes a house a home. So
and
that's
she tried any makeup on.
What would be the point of that?
What would be the point of that?
Not a lot of bling. Very feminine, very nurturing. Okay, we got it. All right, what's next?
So let's do the wife then. Let's go straight to...
Let's go to Hera.
Hera. And it's not this kind of Hera. Not
that kind of Hera. No, but Hera does care about her Hera, for sure. So Hera is the wife. And her what?
And her hubby's Hera.
And her hubby's Hera.
Who cares about all of that?
But she would be pissed off if he had a harem, because the shadow of Hera is jealous. She's like a one-man woman, a one-woman man. And so the wife archetype, she's like, she can be very much the power wife, like the woman behind the man that encourages, props him up, but she wants in return loyalty back because she gives so much. And her devastation is if he wanders or if he doesn't respect her because she's given him so much. She deserves a ton of respect because she's the one that can make or break whoever she's standing behind. So where she shines is in, I mean, there's a friend of mine who, when she's out with her hubby, she always goes, oh, like she fawns over her husband. And I'm kind of like, but she's is all about propping up her husband to the point where it almost isolates everybody else. Like, okay, we get that you love each other. That's nice. But hello, there's another world out here. There's more, but so clearly I have had, actually, my shadow goddess has been Hera, honestly. And I'm working on that. Hera is definitely an important, partnership is super important. Hera, the enlightened Hera, knows how to empower a partner and knows how to have a great and thriving relationship. And, as little girls, I have to admit, even though Hera has been the one that I've resisted the most, I watched all those movies and all the fairy tales that I always wanted to be in love and be like, find the one. And yet I know, like, women's lib and all that stuff, there's been so many crazy messages. Well, I don't want to be anybody's doormat, and I'm not going to, So I know I've been like a feisty one along the path of Hera, but I'm finding how rewarding having a wonderful partnership can be. It's gold. It really is. So
Hera, I love Hera.
You're a good Hera.
I'm not married, but when I was a great Hera. I was really into it. I used to run his business. I did all of his gigs and everything. And then I took care of the house, and I took care of the food, and I took care of the kid, and I did all of that. And I taught him how to raise a kid and how to change diapers. He didn't know any of that and stuff like that. So that was a little of the Demeter thing happening, which we'll talk about next. But Hera, there's something about supporting my partner, my mate, that I just love so much, and getting involved in what he does and wanting to be part of it and wanting to make sure he's happy doing it, and that what he comes home to is a good experience. So he walks in the door and he feels love and he feels cherished, and I actually really enjoy Hera.
You even like, we talked about this before, where I was talking about the Stepford Wives and you were like, oh, I love them. And I'm like,
I do.
What? So that's like a perfect example of like you being like loving Hera, because they represent like, honey, you're home. Here's your slippers. And look, I've got a roast on the table, and I have a perfect figure just for you, my darling. And he's like, okay, wonderful, my little wife. And to me, I'd be like, I will punch you in the face. I'm not your little wife. You get your own damn slippers,
But I don't know if that's Hera's expectation. I think it's just that he adores her because he sees what she does for him.
So when it works is when Hera is appreciated. That's the thing. She needs, if she's appreciated and she's met, then it can be so sweet and she gets so much back. There's like a give and a take, and that's when it works. Okay.
So let's do Demeter then.
Let me just tell everybody really quick. So here we're spiritual girls in a material world, and we are, I think every show we do this, we want to give you something that you can do beyond this. So one of the things you can do if you are curious about what your primary goddess is, that's like driving the car of your goddess mobile, and which goddess you've got in the trunk that is like your shadow goddess, the one that kicks your butt because she's the one that you've gone, ooh, I'm not that.
I'm not that. Yeah.
There's a quiz you can take. You can go to dreamgoddess.us, like .us. Mm-hmm. Dreamgoddess.us. There's 2 free quizzes that you can take to find out your primary goddess and your shadow goddess. Okay, so back to you, Nancy.
Let's do Demeter. She's the mama. And you have a wonderful Demeter mama. And she's just so wonderful. And I think when Demeter is really happening, she's about her kids, but she's just so fully present for them in such a beautiful way, and such a loving, giving way. Not in a, I think the shadow of her might be in the controlling way, in the manipulative way, in the whatever, but in the more risen up, the higher sense of her, she would be just the most wonderful blanket of support. I mean, I want it to be a cushion, a beautiful cushion, a cloud of support for her children.
Oh my God, you just expressed that so beautifully. And, I remember my mom telling me how lucky she felt to be my mom. Like, and I would just
there you go. And she's right.
And it wasn't like it made me feel so like, oh my God, she's lucky to have me. I'm so lucky to have her. Like, so there's this feeling of like being mothered by a Demeter, and Demeter means mutter. Mater is like mother. So it's the easiest one to know, actually, Demeter. It's like she genuinely loves being a mother, and being mothered by a Demeter. It's like it really does. You get an imprint of love, of what it is to be loved and lovable, and how to love. I had a colleague, tell my sister Shannon and I both, I have to meet your mom, because you two love in a particular way that I can tell you were taught. It was like you were given this gift and now you have it to give. And it was like, wow, that was such an interesting observation that I mean, we wouldn't know that because we are like the fish swimming in water that don't know what water is. But she said, my mother wasn't a Demeter mother. She had an Athena mother, which is fine. And we all get the mothers we get. And I think we choose them based on what lessons we want to learn and how we want to grow and what we want to develop into. But she said that she didn't get a lot of nurturing and didn't get a lot of like, you're precious, you're beautiful just as you are. So she was like, she really got a lot from being around Shannon and I, just kind of beaming at her. And it was interesting. We did get that from my mom. We did. Yeah, what kind of mom, what archetype is your mom?
I think she's a Hera. She was really, her husband was her world. For sure. And she adored him, and he did have dinner made for him. They were very traditional in their roles, and she made him at his every meal, and he took out the garbage every time. I mean, it was just, they were so traditional. Maybe that's why I like the Stepford Wives. But mom, that was more, even though she had 6 daughters, that was what her biggest and most, the primary focus. It was dad.
Isn't that interesting? So you got some good modeling about how to
be with a man and how to treat a man. And I did have one guy say to me, you have the ability to make a guy feel like he's the only person on the planet. Not just the only man, but the only person on the planet. And this, at the time, was a dear friend of mine. We were at Taco Bell, and I got him a napkin. And for that, he said that, okay.
Right. Okay, so that's Hera. That's Hera, for sure.
Yeah, and that's Mama. Right.
Tony. And my mom was really good, and she's got a lot of Hera. I mean, she's like Demeter first, Hera. She's got her Hera and Demeter are definitely neck and neck these days. She's very nurturing with my dad. and she gives him a lot, but I know I think Demeter was in her first place for sure.
I would say so.
Yeah. So, and I think that there's some people listening to this might judge whether they themselves are a Demeter mother or whether they came from a Demeter mother. And the thing is that you get your Demeters in other places. If your mother wasn't a Demeter, you find friendships or teachers or other people. There's Demeter all around you. So if you didn't have a Demeter mother, you didn't get ripped off. You just signed up for a different set of lessons because you learn how to partner, or you learn more Athena skills, or you learn more Aphrodite skills. I mean, you've got, well, we're saving Aphrodite for last. See how she keeps trying to butt in? Aphrodite.
Well, let's
to take over.
Maybe we should talk about Persephone. That will calm us down.
That will calm us down.
In a way. Oh my goodness. Persephone. Poor girl. She's got some drama.
Oh, she has some drama, but part 3, like Act 3 in her world is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So Act 1, Persephone is kind of known as the triple goddess because she goes through so much. She's not really one archetype. She's 3.
She's the daughter of the underworld, right?
She's the daughter first, where she's like the innocent maiden who's frolicking in the meadow completely. So anybody who still has a lot of like, anybody who's very childlike, they can be 85 years old, but they see like, the magic of the butterfly, and that's a person that's got a lot of Persephone, perceptive Persephone. She's playful and joyful. Act 2 is where Persephone gets abducted, and she gets abducted by Hades, and she becomes the queen of the underworld. And so there can be this, to me, the bright side of that is that she owns her shadow. She owns the pain. She doesn't shy away from it. Somebody just, this is going to be gross. You're not going to like this. So I'll say it fast. I had 2 people on the same day for First for Women, because I have this article that comes out every 3 weeks, and people send me their dreams to either give them my interpretation just for them or to be potentially for the magazine. And 2 people in a row sent me rat dreams.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh my God. And the first person was like, oh my God, there's a rat in my garden. It was so disgusting. And I woke up and it was gross. What does that mean? So to me, I feel like anything like that is like the underworld calling you. And there's some part of your shadow that you're going, ooh, gross. But really the bright side of a rat is it's resourceful. It gets its needs met. It figures it out. It's like it understands how to roll when things are not plentiful or pretty.
You don't put them in a corner, right? They get their way out of a corner.
They do. But then the next dream, this is like an interesting waking dream. The woman says that she had a dream about a rat, and at first was like, oh, gross. Oh my God, but I need to figure out where to put it. So she makes a bed for it, like a pretty little, like a place for it, and puts it on a windowsill so it could have freedom. She wakes up in the morning and it's dead. But she like kind of gave it a proper burial. And it was like, so to me, it's like, okay, that's kind of like, she was kind with that energy. She wasn't like, ooh, shadow, gross, be damned, be killed. It's like, ooh, okay, I need to find a place for this energy that's going to be life-serving, or let it be on its merry way.
And so she put it in a little bed. And where did she put this bed?
She put it in the windowsill, like so it could get some light.
Her window of her bedroom where she was sleeping.
Not where she was sleeping.
Let's just say it wasn't. Even if it was.
No, it definitely wasn't. I was picturing it like someplace that, like, I'm picturing the kitchen windowsill so it could go.
Yeah.
But it didn't go. It died. But it was like done. I think
in its own way.
From my perspective, it was like it ran its course, and she wasn't scared. Like, she worked through her fear, and then her fear is gone, and now it can like reincarnate in a higher, better way. But
so the third of Persephone
is when she finally gets out of Hades, and she's rescued. Basically, she's and there's so much more to the story. We're being so quick about it. This is definitely a story that we could go on and on and on. But she gets rescued and she gets brought back to the light. And initially she's kind of like shocked, like she's not the light, she's not the darkness, she's not the little girl she once was. But once she integrates, she becomes a force of nature. She's not afraid of her light nor her shadow. She can stand in both worlds, and she is a rock star, powerhouse healer, and her job is to help anybody who gets stuck in either place. Some people get stuck in the darkness of addiction or depression or woe is me or how come everyone's always doing it to me. She's there to rattle their cage and get them up and out of Hades and bring them to the light. The people that are too much in the light, bright, sunny, rainbows, puppy dogs, she's like, oh, I got to show you a little something. Let me introduce you to my little friend, the rat. And she will.
Maybe my daughter is Persephone at all times, because she calls me Patty Positive. She's like, positive Patty. That's what she says. Because my sister was telling me this story about something that happened. I won't go into it, but I said, so then I told her, and I told my daughter what I told her, and she goes, and here comes positive Patty.
So in some way, there was a time when there was a woman who wanted me to sponsor her in 12-step program, she told me, she's like, really, I'm here for you more than you're here for me. She's like, I am your shadow, and I'm going to hang out with you until you have embraced more of your shadow. And she was like, I think that's the undercurrent of our, like, if we're just going to cut to the chase of why we're in each other's lives, she's like, you're here to show me more light, and I'm here to show you more shadow.
And you were this close to saying, let's not talk anymore.
Right. Wait a minute. You're the one that's asking me for help. I didn't go asking you. But really, I never forgot that. And in many, many ways since that time, I have been on the lookout. Like when a shadow does come up, when something difficult happens, I do look for the blessing in that. And as opposed to running from it, I'm like, okay, let me embrace this. How can I love this until it becomes art, until it becomes beauty, so that ultimately, so that I'm not like piling everything up outside the door. Like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to look at that. I'll deal with that tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day.
Tomorrow. Wait, you know who that is creeping in?
Scarlet.
And Scarlet is who we're going to talk about.
Tiny. Oh, you're so right. Oh my God, she's so sneaky, that one.
Creeps in and all of them.
What's that?
She creeped into all of them.
See, even when it's not her time, she's like, I got to do a little photobomb here, photobomb there, photobomb everywhere. Oh my God. Okay, so I think we have some Persephone. To me, I think I love Persephone the most. I think I used to be her more often. I feel like to me, she's so deep and she's juicy. When there's an enlightened Persephone, like to me, Rasuli, the artist.
Oh yeah.
He is like the male version. He's like a Hades. He, like, when he creates his art, and I'll do a little product placement here. I mean, Rasuli's art is like so beautiful. Like, look at all this stuff. It's all beautiful. It all brings you into the light. But how he gets you to the light, it starts like his art, his canvases begin looking like a crime scene. And they're violent. And he says, I'm destroying my mind. I'm destroying my thoughts, destroying my expectations. And he'll flip the canvas and throw the ugliest colors together and just make it so it's like a mess. And then out of there comes an angel. There's like little wings, and then he'll be like, oh, and then it becomes like, this started with like hell, and it becomes beauty, so anyway, it's like it becomes something gorgeous. And to me, there's space. When I'm around him, I always cry when I'm around Rasuli, and I feel like it's because the freedom and the spaciousness I feel with him. I don't feel like there's any clenched sphincter locking around him at all. It's like there's so much room to like, oh yeah, oh my God, everything's okay. It's all beauty. Like embrace the chaos. Whoa, it doesn't have to be so perfect. Oh my God. Just be in his presence. I feel like that's.
I don't think I've met him yet, have I?
No, but you should, and you will.
I'm sure I will.
He's amazing. But that's kind of, I feel like that's what a good Persephone will bring, is that freedom and permission. And that's where your daughter's headed.
That's where she's headed. That's very good to know.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about my fave.
Is it time? Did we do all of them? A PhD.
So.
Hera. P Persephone. Yeah. Okay.
I know. Well, there was a point where you were talking, and I was like, I got to think. Are we done? And I'm going. So I'm sure.
Okay, so here's the checklist. A PhD. Athena, Hera, Aphrodite, Persephone, Hestia, and Demeter. Okay, so now we get to
Aphrodite. And
a little hair flip for her.
I know. Don't you want to just do something beautiful? I've been told
I need more lip gloss for this.
Please do something. Do your nails. Do something for God's sake. That I'm a little. I cherish this goddess. I've been told that so there's some similarities. We'll just say. Anyway, she is. She likes clothes and shoes and men, and I can't even think. I'm so happy just thinking of clothes and shoes and men. I can't even speak anymore.
Music, the arts,
anything beautiful,
sensual,
beautiful sensuality. Yeah, and it's just if it feels good, like really feels good, she's probably there.
Yeah. Yes. Aphrodite makes this world worth living. It's kind of like the whole conversation about taking arts out of the schools. That's like the attempt to make school just an Athena experience and taking all Aphrodite out. But to me, if it wasn't for the arts in school, I would have been a bad kid. I don't know what I would have done, because in order to be in theater, in order to be in cheerleading, in order to be in all the performing arts, I had to have good grades and I had to have good attendance. And left to my devices, I didn't have an Athena ethic going on back then. I didn't care about any Athena at all. What got my grades and what got me to school was all the arts, was my inner Aphrodite that was like, okay, I guess we have to do this. It's a necessary evil.
Yeah, you don't claim that you are her very much, but I feel like you're very much her. When you
Aphrodite?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot, because I walk into your room, you'll have like a beautiful, like fairy lights and curtains and just like, it's like, and I guess, some could say that's a Hestia thing, but really it feels very feminine and very sensual and very like inviting and warm and in a different kind of warm.
Thank you.
So I think you've got a lot more, and you've always got your lipstick all on nice and stuff. Yeah, you got Aphrodite.
I think Aphrodite was and is a huge part of me, and I think I've developed Athena. So now as you're listening to this, you're kind of seeing how we use them as adjectives and nouns. Like they're not just goddesses. They're a part of us. But I feel like Athena has been super important to me, in that I feel like with Athena, you get respect. The shadow of Aphrodite, you get all the joy and the pleasure, but there's not this.
Not a person taken seriously.
No, and to me, that was because I think I had so much Aphrodite. Girls were really mean to me. Boys expected, she's going to be this. So there was this part of me that was like, wait a minute. There's a little Athena in me that was like, no. I want your attention, but I want your respect as well. So Respect is the song of Athena. And Aphrodite is kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like a pure type Athena, Aphrodite doesn't care. She just wants the attention, and that's enough. Even if like, I mean, some people might roll their eyes like, oh my God. She's like, I don't care. I got your attention. And that's like the fuel for me. So you can be extreme. Any pure, any pure type of any of them without the others is tragic. And we don't want that. But the best part, to me, Aphrodite makes this life juicy, sensual, worth living. She greases the wheels. It makes everything flow. And without that, I mean, John Gray does a whole conversation in, I think it's the Mars and Venus look at hormones. And it's one of his later books. And he talks about how women, we need oxytocin in order for like our best to come out. And women who are too driven, and I would say to Athena, they lack estrogen. They are not estrogen, oxytocin. Oxytocin's the tend and befriend. It makes us feel alive and connected. And so sometimes we have to go to the spa. We have to get a mani-pedi. Even if we feel like, who cares? It's like, it makes us juicy. And without that juicy, what's the point of us? We would just be an empty shell, like a little robot going through the motions. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants the shell of me. So Dana will sometimes be like, Kelly, you're going to the spa, really? And I'll be like, yes, I am. And you want me to. Because when I come back, I will be softer and sweeter, and you will get a better version of me than if I just nose to the grindstone, work my ass off, and I'm a crispy little critter. Who wants that? All Athena can make life very dull and dry. Too much Aphrodite can have all cakes and cupcakes and a sugar high, and then there's a crash.
And there's STDs.
And also STDs. So you need a little protein, you need some sugar, you need all of them. But
yeah. And so the best of the ladies have a lot of these different elements. Obviously, none of us, I mean, I'm not 100% Aphrodite. I've got some Hera and some Demeter and some other elements in there.
Athena.
And yeah, I found out I had some Athena. Oh my goodness. So we all embrace that. Now, I was wondering, do they have something for the men? Is it like Zeus and Ares and Hades? And I mean, is there a man test out there? Because we'd love to tell our fellas.
For sure.
Hera and me is coming out.
Yeah, no, there's a few books, and I have not written those books, but Jean Shinoda Bolen, she's the one who wrote Goddesses in Every Woman, and then she wrote Gods in Every Man, in Every Man. And for whatever reason, I have them to a certain degree, but I don't see them in the same way. I know that there is Zeus, there's Apollo, there is Hades, there is Poseidon. To me, they all feel. Oh, and who's the one that is Aphrodite's? The dude. I know who you're talking about. I totally know who you mean. Yeah. Oh my God, he'll pop in. Anyway, there are those. I think it starts with a D. Dionysus. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I know that, oh my God, I think my Athena brain is like crashing. Agape Stassinopoulos wrote a really beautiful modern version of about the goddesses, a book about the goddesses, and then also about the gods, about the men as well. So Jean Shinoda Bolen kind of put it all on the map. She was a Jungian psychologist, and it was major bestseller, still is, like from the 70s. And Agape Stassinopoulos, her book is more contemporary, like in the last 10 or 15 years. So
that'd be great for the men.
For the men, exactly. So for the spiritual girls in a material world, and for the spiritual guys with material ties, go and at least check out dreamgoddess.us to explore what your goddess is, your shadow goddess and your primary goddess is. And for the men, even though I don't have the quiz for you yet, you can at least look at these quizzes from the perspective of what is your woman, the main women in your life. And there will likely be some insights about how to bring out the best in her, or how to not bring out the worst in her.
Or at least know what's about to come out of her.
So there's no surprises.
No
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
So,
I think we said it all.
Yeah.
For sure. My goodness. Well, I'm glad you guys listened to us. And definitely check us out on Facebook. We've got Spiritual Girls in a Material World. There's KellySullivanWalden.com, NancyTelsrow.com. Namaste and namasko.